I'm Nicholas Jones. I'm the owner of Nip and Tuck Plastic Surgery. Obviously, I'm a plastic surgeon, and I am from Marrero, Louisiana.
I'm Marrero, man. My grandma actually lives in Marrero.
West Bank.
Yeah.
The best bank.
So, let's talk about your upbringing. Like,
Okay.
actually before you became a plastic surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
So so you grew up on the West Bank. So,
Right.
So like, tell us, what schools did you go to and things like that?
Okay, yeah. So, the heart of Marrero off of Ames. Grew up. My parents. My father was a truck driver. Mother was a social worker, and so I went to elementary school. I went to Estelle, and believe it or not, Mom was at a parent-teacher conference and found out that they had me in like a remedial reading class. And so luckily she showed up, she pulled me out, ended up going to Tarrytown Academy. And then from there, I didn't really want to, be with white people all the time. So she ended up letting me go to Truman for middle school, and then I went to Shaw for high school.
Okay.
Ended up going to Xavier undergrad, where I got my degree in chemistry. LSU for medical school. Did my general surgery residency at Albert Einstein. My plastic surgery residency at Medical College of Augusta, and I did a microsurgery fellowship at the University of Mississippi.
That sounds like you went to a lot of schools. Like, how many years did that take?
That's a lot of training. So 4 years of college, 4 years in medical school, that's 8. I did a 5-year general surgery residency, so that puts me at 13. And then I did a plastic surgery residency. That's another 3 years. That's 16 years.
So my biggest question is, how much did you owe in student loans after you were finished?
So luckily, when I went to Xavier, I had some scholarship money, and then LSU, a state school, so it's not as expensive as some of the other schools like Tulane. So I probably owe about $150 when it was all said and done.
So if you could take it back,
Mm-hmm.
getting out of high school,
Right.
would you do it all over again, like going to other schools?
Man, that's a tough question. I may have done the same thing. The one biggest thing I kind of regret is majoring in sciences when I was in college, because I've always kind of been into music, been into arts. I wish I would have majored in the arts. I still could have become a doctor, but I would have had a different background.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, being a plastic surgeon, like, tell us, what's one average day like for you?
Average day. Okay. So I'll just tell you what a week's like. So 2 days out of the week, I see patients in my office, and the other 3 days I operate. So typically on an operative day, I try to wake up early. Sometimes it's real hard, but I get up like around 5-6 o'clock, get dressed, go to the surgery center. Got to beat the Atlanta traffic. So if I don't leave my house by like 6:30, then I'm gonna be late. Go see my first patient, mark them. All in my mind, I'm thinking about on my ride there. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna execute, do that surgery, finish that one up, and then I usually do like about three surgeries a day. And then once the day's over, just make sure the last patient's taken care of, and then I kind of end my day. Sometimes I go to the gym in the morning. Lately, I haven't been going to the gym because work has really been kicking my ass, but that's what a typical surgery day is like. And in the office hours are really long. Usually it's like from 8 to 5, but there's always something to do after. Like every day, as a business owner, I think this goes for anyone, you always have little fires that you got to put out. And so you just have to prioritize things. And sometimes it can be really stressful.
Gotcha. So how did you come up, with the name for your company?
So, man, believe it or not, so I was thinking of, even before I finished my training, I was thinking of a name that I could use. I initially just wanted to use my name, but somebody had already taken that. And so I was just kind of thinking, I was like, man, Nip and Tuck, And I know they had a a show called Nip Tuck, but it was Nip Tuck. And so I said Nip and Tuck, and it just kind of stuck with me. I was playing around and I realized the name wasn't taken, so I rolled with it.
Gotcha. So, on like you do BBL, so if we have to get in this, like, they have so many concerns, like on the media and the world, like, they have women dying from BBL and like they have surgeons overseas that's put anything in women.
Right.
So like I want you to like chime in like on the pros and the cons of actually getting one on that BBL.
Okay, so a Brazilian butt lift is a surgical procedure where we take fat, we suction out fat from one part of your body and you transfer the fat to your butt. And the reason why there's a higher mortality rate is because people or surgeons, or some of them aren't even surgeons, they're putting the fat in the muscle. And so beneath the muscle are blood vessels. So if the fat, you're moving the cannula back and forth and you lacerate or cause an injury to those blood vessels, the fat goes into the blood vessel, gets back into your heart, gets into your lung, and you have fat emboli, and that's lethal. You can die from that. So when you're doing the proper way to do a BBL is to place the fat, or the safe way is to put the fat into the subcutaneous layer or into the area where there's fat. So you have skin, you have the dermis, then you have subcutaneous fat. Beneath the fat is the muscle. So you get into trouble when you're putting it in the muscle. Another place where you have problems or potential problems, like you have these places, they're like factories. Like they do a whole bunch of surgeries, they do them really fast, and they cut corners. And so when you cut corners with people's lives, you can end up, causing problems. And that's not to say that a plastic surgeon or board certified plastic surgeon, they don't have complications. It's just it's done in a more careful way. Like there's certain things that you shouldn't do, and there's certain corners that you shouldn't take, certain shortcuts you shouldn't take.
Gotcha. So, it's my question to you. So, I want you to give like a little advice to someone that's thinking about getting plastic surgery, like changing their face or something like that.
So I think first and foremost, you have to think about why you're getting the surgery done, like what exactly you're trying to accomplish. Make sure it's something that you want to do for yourself, and you're not doing it for someone else. And then you have to be realistic. I personally, when I do surgeries, I try to make it look as natural as possible. Like you don't want to do a BBL on someone and they have a big ass butt and some small ass legs. Like they look like toothpicks, like two cherries on some toothpicks. So you don't want to do that. And so I think it's really important to find out, to do some research, know your surgeon, make sure your surgeon is board certified, make sure they have all their credentials. If you have complications, you want to know where your surgeon has hospital privileges, look at their work, and then just make sure they're actually a plastic surgeon, because there's a lot of people going around saying, they're certified to do these procedures, and they may be an internist. Like I wouldn't go to a cardiologist and try to get my arm fixed or my shoulder scoped. It's the same thing with plastic surgery. You want to go to someone who has appropriate training.
So, like as soon as you said it, I was about to start laughing and chime in about like if my girls have, these surgeries and they have small legs. So every time I go to the airport in Atlanta, I always call them popsicles. Yeah. So it'd be like the skinniest girls with like skinny legs. Yeah. And like their butt look like that on popsicle, like a little sucker that's got like this little string on it.
It looks fake. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like.
And they be walking like on like kangaroos.
Yeah, I think of it like always, like New Orleans is my foundation. So like, I feel like some of the best barbers in the world come from New Orleans.
Okay.
And so when you go to a barber shop, you can go to like 20 different barbers and ask for a haircut. The same haircut, and it may look completely different. And so it's the same thing when I think about surgery. When I do surgeries, like I mean the patient, they tell me what they want, but naturally for me, I try to make patients look, I try to make it look symmetric. I try to make it look harmonious. Try to make it look natural. And so most of the people who come to me, they come because they want a more natural look.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, being with plastic surgery,
Uh-huh.
tell us what do you enjoy most about it, and tell us what do you actually hate about it.
What I enjoy the most is when I have a patient and they come in and they have the surgery and it changes their life. Like they're more confident, they have more swag, like they're happy. It changes for a lot of patients. It can change their lives, and so I appreciate that, and I love that aspect. One thing that I do not like, or one thing I don't like, is like the business of plastic surgery. Like sometimes just running a business, that shit could be stressful. Like I said, you're always putting out fires, and I don't think that'll ever change. It's just learning how to manage and prioritize like what's most important.
Gotcha. So, speaking on that, like, has there ever been one point in your plastics surgery career we just wanted to give up and like do something else?
Give up. That's a good question. I'm not gonna say I wanted to get. I'm not gonna say I wanted to give up, but there's been times like I questioned whether or not I should have opened my own business, because like I said, at the end of the day, it's all on you. Like you have people that work for you. If they're not doing their job, then it all kind of affects what I do. But at the end of the day, it's all on me. So it's a lot of weight to carry, and then just dealing with people like employees, it can be a challenge. So what I've learned just from being in business is that you need to surround yourself with like-minded people, and people, just good people. If you get a good employee that's honest and that's hardworking, you got to do whatever you can to keep them.
Gotcha. So, can you give us, well, not give us, what's your advice to one, a younger person out there who's probably in college, who's interested in becoming one plastic surgeon?
That's a great question. I would say if you're interested in plastic surgery or whatever you are interested in, find out what it takes to get to that level or to that point in life, and figure out how you can get there. And I think if you're in college, one thing that I think makes a big difference is actually seeing it like live in person. Like, so if you can find a mentor or find a plastic surgeon that's willing to maybe let you come shadow them for a few days, that could be life changing. And so I've had the opportunity to have students shadow me, mentor students, and that's another thing that actually brings me more joy than doing surgery. Like when I have students who've gone on and become doctors, or they've got accepted into medical school, that brings me a lot of joy. And I think exposure at an early age is the best. That's the best way to get started. Like early exposure, so you kind of have a more in-depth knowledge of what exactly goes on. Because you may find out like, damn, this is not really for me. Or you may have someone who you just cut that light switch on, they ready, and so you just give them the information, and then they already know what to do.
Okay, so what separates your company from the other ones that's actually out there?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. A few things. One, me. A very personable person, and I care. Like I don't think you find another plastic surgeon that cares as much as I do. Like I'm not going to do something that I don't think is in your best interest. Like if you want something crazy and outlandish, I'm not gonna do it. If I feel like it's not safe for you to get it done, whether it's because you smoke or you have underlying medical conditions, we're not gonna do the surgery. And even if I have to send you somewhere else, then that's what we'll do.
So I see a lot of like males trying to get like plastic surgery now. A lot like with the abs. Like you see like a high like risk in that, or like a lot of people starting to come to you for that.
So believe it or not, back I would say a couple of years ago it wasn't as common, but now more men are coming. Like it's become more acceptable. Like guys used to kind of be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, but you know I have a decent size LGB.
Yeah, I forgot the name.
I have a lot of I got a lot of guys coming in now, and then even like athletes, like sometimes they just want little areas touched up.
What you think was like the recent like rise of that? Like, is it just like
Social
all of a sudden?
media? I think everybody wants to look good, and nobody wants to really put in the effort. Like nobody want to go to the gym. Like if you just go have surgery and you know get your body tightened up, why not? Or a lot of times I have people who say, hey doc, like I've been eating right, I've been going to the gym, but I just got this one little area that I just can't get right. And so I get a lot of those.
I know you say people are lazy and don't work out. So like, what happens when they get the plastic surgery, and like how they maintain that if they don't work out?
That's a great question. So when I see patients before surgery, I always tell them, like, in order for you to maintain this result, you got to make some lifestyle changes. So that's diet, mostly diet. I say 90% of it is diet. So if you're eating a lot of carbs like bread, pasta, candy, sodas, you're doing all that, you're probably not going to be able to maintain your results, even if you exercise religiously. So it's really the diet. And a lot of patients, they'll get the work done, and it's sort of like a jump start for them to change their life. Like they look at themselves and they're like, damn, like this, I'm really loving my results. And it just kind of inspires them, encourages them to make some lifestyle changes.
You ever had any of those patients that like say they was going to make those changes and then came back?
Oh
and, like,
yeah,
you had to bring work on them.
Oh my gosh, I had this one lady. She was like, should I have this surgery because I'm thinking about having another child? And she was like, you know what, I'm done. I talked to my husband, we done. Soon as she had the surgery, like 6 months later, she was pregnant. Or then I have the other patients. I had some ladies who had surgery before COVID, and they come into the office with this little disappointed look, and you know they end up needing surgery again.
And also, I see a lot of like people getting addicted to surgery. You ever had like somebody that just constantly come back and like you had to tell them like you know you should maybe think about stopping? Or it's like a
yeah. So if I feel like I can't do anything for them, then I'll just tell them. Like sometimes you'll have patients who want like little minor things fixed. Like to the average person, it doesn't exist. But you know they just become addicted to the fad, to the trend of surgery, and they just want to keep getting stuff done. Like I've had patients who come in and told me that they wanted to look like someone off of the Real Housewives. I'm like, well, what did they get done? It's like, I don't know, but that's what I want. So yeah, I'll turn them down. If I don't think they're a good candidate, I'll turn them down, because you don't want to operate on someone and have them in your office every day complaining about like the most minuscule thing. It becomes a headache for you and your staff.
Do y'all have like any like patients with like, you know, like if you flying and this person is banned from this airline, do y'all have anybody that's like in like a surgeon market? Like can they be banned from getting surgery?
So I've had patients who that I've had to turn down, or I've had patients who've like had procedures or like products like lip fillers, for example. I had this girl came to the office. She She said she wanted some dick sucking lips. That's what she said. That was her exact words. And so we gave her a syringe. We put in a syringe, and she wasn't happy with that. Usually we only do one syringe, and so she wanted more, and we gave her more. And then like a couple of weeks later, she was like highly upset, and so we had to just. Sometimes it's better to just give them their money back and just cut ways, because it's just gonna be a headache. So yeah, I've had to do that before.
Hey, so tell us, I'm like, what's next for you?
What's next? Man, right now I'm just trying to, so this year number 2, I just finished my second year. So right now, I just got a new practice manager, and so I'm just trying to iron out all the operational glitches, and then once we get that stabilized, I want to expand. It's always been my dream to have an office here in New Orleans, so that's really what I want to do. I want to come to New Orleans, open up a spot, and then obviously, in order to do that, I'm gonna need some more plastic surgeons.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, but last but not least, tell everyone, I'm like, where can they find you on social media?
Okay.
In your company.
All right. So the website, drnipandtuck.com. That's DRNIPANDTUCK. On Instagram, same thing, Dr. Nip and Tuck or Nip and Tuck Plastic Surgery.